Hello, everybody! Back again, Insane Gorilla here. And where I last left off, Deku and Uraraka aced the physical exam, or test, whatever Aizawa had them do. And I'm not really going to go through that because so many people go through it. Just, it's the Force, okay? You can just manipulate the Force to do anything. So, yay! Now, on to the rest of the day. They had their English teacher, President Mike, maths teacher, Cementos, I think it was, so on and so forth, until it comes to the heroes versus villains, which they all hear somebody running towards the door, stopping, and the doors fly open, and All Might walks in saying, "I am walking in like a regular hero." Sorry, that's a very bad impression of him. Sorry about that. And people sort of freak out saying it's All Might, it's All Might, it's All Might. Deku, already knowing who he really is, and knowing that that's just his buff form, just still in his robes and that, I think I'll just say he just has the robes because he sorted his hero gear out early. And, well, yeah, things just go on from there. Uraraka sort of asks him a question of why what he's doing here, because I'm just going to say nobody else knows what he's doing here. They just think he's just going to be here for one day. And he says, "Well, I'm going to be one of your combat instructors." Everybody sort of being happy that saying, "Yay, we get All Might as a combat instructor." He tells everybody that all heroes must have their costumes, and presses a button on a little control he had, and suitcases pop out of the wall, and everybody goes to get their hero gear. All Might says, "Go and get changed into your hero gear, and I will take you to where the combat tests or combat is going to take place." So everybody gets changed, goes into the locker rooms to go and get changed. Mineta, well, I didn't mention this, but Mineta's not in this one. Mineta got kicked out. And nobody's really going to replace him just yet. And yeah. My mind's just pulled a blank again. Oh yeah. Everybody gets into their costumes. Everybody then walks out into where I think that's where the practical, like the exam took place. If not, I'm incredibly dumb. And everybody's sort of wondering where Uraraka and Deku were. Uraraka walking up to him saying, "Oh, I'm here." She's still wearing her regular uniform. Not a uniform, her regular outfit in the first one. And then they hear the sound of what sounds like old cowboy boots walking through a tunnel. They all turn around, see a robed figure with with gauntlets and basically in the picture, they see that minus the lightsaber he does have one, but he's not bringing it in just yet. He's going to say he's made one at home, and he's going to bring it in to show people to see if the sport tech people actually would like the idea. I will get to that on a later date. Don't worry, I'll explain how he's now got a lightsaber at random. And he walks up to everybody. Everybody's sort of like saying, so you're just wearing your regular stuff you usually wear. Because you were wearing that same hoodie earlier. Now you're wearing, what, robes and armor? Deku just sort of giving up a little bit of an annoyed grunt and saying, yes, got a problem with that? Everybody's sort of saying, no, just wondering. Then All Might saying, you all look like fabulous heroes. But stopping at Deku and saying, apart from you, you look like a villain, but I'm not going to question you. Because you look like you can take even me down with a single strike. Everybody's sort of looking at Deku saying, is that true? And Deku says, don't know, never retried it. Bakugo just saying, you better not think that you're better at me just because you get acknowledged by All Might. And everybody just looks at Bakugo and says, seriously, is that all you're going to say? Bakugo just grunting and saying, shut up, you're all nothing but extras. Like he did in the school, which I never really went into detail about because meh. And All Might says, you all have a letter on a different coloured ball, and I will pull out 2 different sets of balls. One's going to be a hero team, and the other's going to be a villain team. So it's classmates versus classmates. But you're not just going to beat each other senseless. You're going to have an objective. I'm going to sort of switch it up this time. Instead of it being a fake bomb, it's actually a hostage rescue this time. Because so many people do the bomb thing, the fake bomb test. So this is going to be a fake hostage rescue with actual teachers who will be not only studying the students' fighting styles, but also how they react to this whole situation. And surprise, surprise, it's Bakugo and Ida versus Deku and Uraraka. Why not? Why keep it the same thing? To me, they're just 2 peas in a pod. 2 stupid people. Hey ho. And Bakugo gets this really evil grin, and it's obviously pointed at Midoriya. Deku not really noticing because he's obviously got robes, armor, and he's got a bit more firepower in his arsenal, no pun intended, than Bakugo. So yeah, Bakugo and Ida go in first, find the fake hostages, which turns out to be Aizawa and President Mike. This is going to be fun. So when they reach President Mike and Aizawa, Ida says, so you 2 are going to be our so-called hostages. Aizawa sort of saying, yeah, and I don't really care. Let's just get this over with. President Mike's just President Mike. He's just always happy, apparently. Just saying, yeah, dudes, let's get this over and done with so I can go back to my class and annoy them all to hell with my loud voice. And as this test goes on, Ida tries to again tell Bakugo that they need to work together. Bakugo says, "I don't work with weaklings, and plus you'll just get him away. I'll take these two down by myself." Basically, the same thing happens in the anime and in the manga. Bakugo storms off, whatever word that was, storms off, slamming the door and blasting off with his explosives. Mizawa and President Mike both say to Ida, well, he's lost points already. And Ida turns around and says, can we please focus on the task at hand? This is meant to be a test for us. And Aizawa says, fair enough. President Mike just keeping quiet, playing off like he's an actual hostage. Bakugo, as I said, is blasting down everything, trying to find Deku and Uraraka. Meanwhile, Deku and Uraraka are actually discussing their plan of attack. Uraraka favoriting sneaky attacks, and Deku sort of agreeing, but he says if sneak attacks won't work, you run and find the hostages and deal with Ida. I will then deal with Bakugo. And both agreeing and just strolling in the front door. Taking the time, checking corners, and Deku thinks it's the perfect time to teach Uraraka how to feel disturbances within the Force. He tells her to open her mind to everything around her, and she asks, you're going to try and teach me how to do this now? And Deku just turns around quickly and says, yeah, better now than never. Call it trial by fire, as he sort of nervously chuckles to himself. And as Uraraka starts opening her mind, she can actually feel Bakugo, Ida, Aizawa, and President Mike saying, oh, that was easier than expected. The fake hostages are on the 10th level. There's someone shooting very fast towards us, and we're only on the 3rd floor. Deku quickly going around the corner into a dark little corner bit before Bakugo comes around. Uraraka wasn't really paying attention to where he went, so stood in front of him for a bit and opened her eyes to see that he was gone, then to find herself face to face with Deku as he grabs hold of her arm and pulls her towards him, grabbing hold of her and telling her to keep quiet and kneel onto the floor and wait, as soon enough they hear a few explosions and past goes Bakugo. Like a bat out of literal hell. And they decide that it's best if they sneak up to the 10th floor and deal with Ida and grab the hostages. They both decide to go separate ways. Uraraka goes the short way, which was behind Deku, and Deku goes the long way, hoping not to get spotted by Bakugo. And unfortunately, he did. Bakugo shooting round another corner, seeing him, shouting, "Where the hell do you think you're going?" Deku just sighing and saying, "Well, hopefully she can deal with Ida while I deal with Mr. Explosive over here." Him saying that out loud, saying, "You call me that again, you useless piece of trash." Deku just noticing that he gets really, really agitated by calling him names, something they never really picked up on. Calls him Explosive again, Mr. Explosive. Really ticking off Bakugo, which makes him fly straight towards him, trying to, well, make him go boom. And Deku just allows him to get close. And when Bakugo thinks he actually had him, Bakugo finds himself on his ass down to the bottom of the corridor again. With Deku casually and menacingly walking up to him. And I think seeing some guy with robes and armor and just pushed your ass straight down the end of the corridor and it looks like it didn't even break a sweat would kind of terrify people. Bakugo just saying, "You really think that's going to scare me? You just walking up here all nonchalantly? You must have a real death wish." As he looked down at his gauntlets to see both of them were busted. Looking up again, saying, "You bastard, you broke my gauntlets." And Deku just saying in a gravelly voice, because he has a gravelly voice in his mask, because he has a voice voice changer in his mask. So it just says, "Well, yeah. You really think I'm not? You really think I'm that dumb? Those gauntlets most probably have your sweat in them to cause a massive explosion. And I guess you're waiting for them to get enough nitroglycerine, which is your sweat, I guess, in them, and you must probably have a little pin somewhere to pull out, which will release that all at once, and most probably try to kill me, considering I'm your biggest threat, being the number one hero, apparently." Bakugo's sort of saying, "You bastard, now die." Obviously doing his now die thing. Deku just force pushing him again, further and further back. And Uraraka finally gets up to the 10th floor, waits for Deku for a little bit, realizes that she can sense where he is, because she's still mastering it. Then feels a disturbance, realizing that it's Deku having a bit of a confrontation with somebody downstairs, saying to herself that's most probably Bakugo. He's strong, but I think Deku is 10 times stronger than anybody in the world. I must probably have the same power as him, but I doubt I can master it to his extent. Oh well. I've got to admit. And she does sort of walk in and sort of say to herself in her head that he is kind of cute. Even though I know what he looks like, he is still kind of cute. Her getting sidetracked or distracted gives Ida an opening to knock her out, saying, "Sorry, Uraraka, but I'm a villain. you are a hero, so villains play unfairly. Knocking her out and putting her next to Aizawa and President Mike. And Ida sort of says she got herself distracted by something, and so that's 10 points off the hero team. Aizawa just nodding in agreement, and yeah, that that's what happens to Uraraka. Back to Bakugo and Deki. Deki sort of is starting to really get agitated by Bakugo's lack of concentration, because he always says, I'm going to be the number one hero, you're not going to stop me. Deku finally getting annoyed and doing an Emperor Palpatine, just extends his hand, points down his, well, extends his arm, puts down his hand to where his fingers are pointing at Bakugo, and Bakugo just simply says, what are you going to do? Shock me to death? And Deku just laughs and says, you already know my next attack, and then shoots lightning out of his fingertips. And they're not purple like Palpatine's are in the Return of the Jedi. They're just ordinary blue lightning bolts. But they are strong. Them hitting Bakugo dead on, because Bakugo does not know tactics. Hitting him dead on and causing him an excruciating amount of pain before the pain finally gets to him and drives him unconscious. Yay! Good going, Bakugo, again. And Deku just simply saying, well, that's the weak link dealt with. Him sensing around, trying to feel a disturbance, felt a disturbance on the 10th floor, saying, so she must have failed to take out Ida. She most probably got distracted with something. And just walks off. Walks up to the 10th floor. And senses again, just in case there's somebody in front of the door. There isn't, but there is somebody to a most probably what looks like a pillar waiting to run out. So Deku does the one thing the Force users can do. Force push not force push this time. Force grips the door and crushes it like a tin can, making Ida walk out, sort of like saying, what the hell? Either going into his villain mode, saying you heroes won't get these hostages. I've also got one of your own court as well. Do you really want to risk their lives? Deku just sort of standing in front of the door frame after walking around from the corner. Stands there in the doorway. Ida sees him and says, you heroes won't get the hostages again. And Recifro bursts towards Deku. Deku just saying, fool, and force grabs him. And Ida sort of is stuck in midair. Him saying, what the? How the hell are you doing this? Deku's just saying, it's a secret. And then just, whoops, accidentally hit my dog there. Don't know what she's doing up here. And, as I was saying, throws Ida to the back of the room, making him hit his head on, hit his back, then his head on the wall, knocking him out. Then going over to the fake hostages, saying, it's alright, you're free now. Undoing the binders that they've got on. All Might saying, heroes win. Deku sort of getting ridiculed by Momo, saying he allowed his emotions to get the best of him. It looked like he was enjoying beating down Bakugo, even though they couldn't see his facial reactions. Momo says he almost probably was enjoying the beatdown of Bakugo, which is not very heroic at all. Uraraka is standing up saying, yeah, well, at least he didn't waste too much time with Ida. Unlike regular heroes, as Momo snaps at her, unlike regular heroes who arrest their villain targets, Deku used lightning, in quotations, lightning, and didn't stop until Bakugo was virtually unconscious. And to let you know, Uraraka, he has second degree burns. By the way, I'm not doing a Momo voice. If anybody asks me to try and do any voices, I'm just going to say no in my next video. So yeah, all the things go the same. Bakugo has even more of a grudge. And yeah, that's the end of the day. Next is the USJ arc. Now, before they actually went to the USJ arc, Deku actually did bring in his lightsaber and actually asked the support course if it's going to be alright if he can use it, because it is something he made himself. Hint, hint, no he didn't. I'll explain that in my next video. I'm saying, yeah, sure. And, yeah. USJ. They arrive at the USJ after talking about their quirks. Deku just being the primary talk due to how versatile and strong his quirk is, but also being slightly scared of asking him because he's still in his armor. In the armor and robes he's in from a few days before. They get there, they see 13, she gives them all an explanation. Uraraka sort of is giddy about meeting 13 because she's her favourite hero. And Aizawa's there as well. 13 sticking up 3 fingers to Aizawa, so Aizawa knows that All Might reached his limit. Deku and Bakugo both noticing that. Deku just sort of says to himself, 3 fingers, that means there should have been 3 teachers here. All Might, 13 and Aizawa. All Might must have trouble somewhere else. And as she explains, a portal opens. Shigaraki and all the other villains walk out along with Anomu. But anyway, guys, I'm leaving it here. Leave a like and comment down below, and see you in the next one. Peace.